gathered here today for what we call the ta'ziyah. Ta'ziyah is meeting or being in the presence of the family of those that have deceased. As we know, in the last 24 to 48 hours, within our locality, not more than 100 yards from the masjid, people who are involved inside and out within our masjid have left this world and gone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People pass away every day, every week, every month. But this gathering here today has a special meaning for two reasons. The first is, when someone passes away, where do you go for ta'ziyah? You go to the house. If the house is no longer there as a house, where else is there to go apart from the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Secondly, not only those that passed away were involved in the masjid, but they were students of our Jamiah. The mother, Shahni Napa, just before Ramadan she had graduated. She was in her 40s. Became an alima. She would help around cleaning in the masjid. Monthly gatherings we have for sisters on the Sundays. She herself would lead the team to ensure the masjid is clean, and she would clean herself. This masjid that we're sitting in here now. Yesterday, I went to that building over there, the Waymaster building, the boys' maktab now, just to make sure the lights and everything is off. After Maghrib, around 8 o'clock, when everyone's gone home. So I went to the girls' side to make sure all the lights and everything is off, because everyone's expected to go home. So I opened the door, and a lady was there praying salat. So I closed the door, and I left. I thought maybe she's doing some work or something, so I left. Yesterday morning, when I consulted with some of the female staff, they said that it wouldn't have been anyone except her, because she would normally stay on that time to clean the masjid and the madrasa. This is 8 o'clock, 4 to 5 hours before the incident. This was the mother. The daughter Zainab, who was 19, 20 years old, she was in her final year of Bukhari. Just the night before, she attended a lecture by Hazrat which he gives for Sahih al-Bukhari. She was in her final year. Bilal, who was 17 years old, he was a student of Jamiah as well. Not long before Ramadan, he had completed his hifz. And just 3 weeks ago, after Ramadan, we broke up, we started again. He joined the first year of Alimiyah class. And the youngest of them, Jamal, although he wasn't a student at our Jamiah, he was a student of Leicester on Loughborough Road. He was an attendee of the masjid when he was not studying at his place. This was a family that was involved in the masjid on a day-to-day basis, and this is why it befits that the ta'ziyah is done no place except the masjid. Now, how did they end up here? How did they end up in Leicester? They had come to know that Leicester has a good Islamic environment. It's a cradle of peace and unity. An example for not only the Muslims in this country but also abroad. And they had heard of that, which brought them to Leicester. The father, who is present with us here today, Dr. Tawfiq Sahab. He's one of the top neurosurgeons in Ireland. And they would live in Ireland. But he wanted, because he himself was working, so he wanted the rest of his family to, with his support, study the ilm and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he came here, he bought a house for them, the house that got burnt down. He bought a house for them, just for the sake of them studying ilm. And they would live there. And Dr. Saab, every week or every 2 weeks, he would come on Friday evenings after work and go back on Sunday. He's been doing this for years. If you can imagine, his wife, Shanila Appa, who graduated last year, that must have been 5 or 6 years ago. This sacrifice he's been making for all these years. Before Ramadan, I went with our Hazrat Muhammad Sahab to Dublin, Ireland, on the invitation of Dr. Sahab. Dr. Sahab, through his own savings, bought a premises, a very serene, peaceful location, not far from the motorway, surrounded by trees, like a garden, a very peaceful place. And the intention of this place was to open a masjid and a madrasa. Who would run the madrasa? He's just waiting for his family, his wife and his kids to finish so they can come here and they can run the madrasa and teach. Dr. Saab, his house is here. Where did he used to live in Ireland? During the day he would work as a surgeon. During the night he would sleep in the masjid. The masjid was his house, and it still is. This is why it befits that unusually a gathering like this is held in a masjid. Now, from what we've heard, the family were very happy and they were keen to complete their studies and join the father. I was speaking to one of the Appas yesterday and she said, Appa was very, keen to complete, and she said, I've spent many years away from my husband. I'm looking forward to joining him and doing the khidmah of deen and learn what I've shared in the majalis of Hazrat and all the Ullamah and the Appas, and to share that with the community of Dublin, Ireland. This is why we've had a gathering here today. Some of you may have known him, may have seen him. Some of you may just heard of him. But everyone, regardless of that, has been touched by the story. Whether it's the local grocers. Just before I came here, I went to arrange some carpets for one of the rooms in the madrasa. And I went to this carpet place. And the man said, 2 years ago I fitted the carpet in his house. It's a normal man, normal businessman. He's been touched by it. Yesterday, as you know, outside we've had the media all day. Some of our students have gone and they've distributed tea, coffee, biscuits to the police, to the members of the media. And they've all been very grateful for the way the masjid and the people surrounding have treated them. Now today, inshallah ta'ala, we will have a few people say a few words. And these people who share these words with you, they would have known them personally to some capacity. Just to give you an idea of the family that have left us here today and have returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would like to start off with Hazrat Maulana Idris Sahab. Hazrat Maulana Idris Sahab is a teacher here at Jamiah Mosque. He's also a teacher at Leicester, where Jamal is studying as well. And he and his wife, they know the family quite closely. So I'd like to ask him to come forward, inshallah, and say a few words. نحمده
सल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद। गुज़िश्ता कल जो अजीम वाक़या पेश आया, जो हम सब के लिए एक वाकई में मुसीबत थी, अभी कारी साहब ने हमारे सामने जिन आयतों की तिलावत